Hello, I'm Rebecca, the founder of triiyo, and welcome to Pep Talks with triiyo. triiyo is the leading solution for workplaces to support their people during every life transition, from starting a family to retiring and every life event in between. On Pep Talks with triiyo, we chat to our expert partners for advice on how to best navigate these common, complex, and often messy life stages that happen during our working career. Keep listening as we connect the dots between life and work with the simple aim of education and empowerment. After all, life happens at work. Today on Pep Talks with triiyo, we're speaking with Victoria Mills, founder and CEO of Hello Coach. We're going to be discussing the need for coaching in today's workforce, the difference between EAP and coaching, and what outcomes can be expected from coaching. Victoria, welcome. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you. Always lovely to chat with you.
Firstly, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Great question. The last 20 years, I have dedicated my professional career being an executive coach. Was one of the first founding coaches in Australia before coaching was a thing. Absolutely loved it. 20 odd thousand coaching hours later, I decided to do a startup. And we got that underway approximately 2.5 years ago. And I created a company called Hello Coach. And this is obviously where we are today. So we're a global platform. We have coaches all around the world, and we support businesses and employees essentially to be happy, to thrive, to help them problem solve, and to help them really feel a part of amazing organizations. And I love it. I love what we do.
Amazing. And you started your startup, which I can sympathize how challenging that is, at one of the most challenging points known to man. So, congratulations for being here. And, I know that this journey is fraught with challenges. So kudos to you, and wonderful that you're trying to change the landscape of coaching and I know make it far more accessible. I really do understand the value of coaching, and we also within the workplace we have EAPs. So for anyone that's sort of not sure of the difference, could you just start off by telling us what is coaching and how does it differ to an EAP?
It's a great question. We do often get asked that question. So EAP is essentially crisis management. It is someone who has experienced deep stress on the front line at work. Often, we have seen that across construction, engineering, those type of environments. EAP is very much for when you need more therapeutic advice and quick acting crisis management. Coaching is prevention. It's almost like it's the pill before someone gets onto an antidepressant. It's a silly analogy, but it's what I think of right now. It is about the support of creating a very strong, solid, holistic view of, a human being before they get to a meltdown, before they get completely overwhelmed, that then sees them taking mental health days or health days and or not turning up for work and or leaving organizations. So coaching steps in to support HR. It steps in to support the employees of that organization and essentially help team leads and managers and partners, associate directors actually run the business, which is what they're brought in to do, versus trying to counsel and coach people that they don't have time for, and also they're not equipped and they're not qualified. So coaching has been around for a long time. The coaching concept isn't new. However, it's about giving time back to managers and getting them back out on the playing field along with their team and their people. And coaches, it's like having an avatar and a rock star in your corner that is there for you no matter what time of day or night. And we've created a company where you can book and match and have a session with a coach now within 60 minutes. Because when you need to get coaching support strategies, sometimes, it does keep you awake at night, Beck, and not, necessarily just for the startup world, but for all CEOs out there. There is a lot riding on their shoulders. And to be able to have a bolt-on coaching company that can come in and support people bottom to top, we are certainly seeing, obviously, the quality and the value that we are bringing organizations. However, it is vastly different from EAP and it's complementary. I'm not saying we don't need EAP, we do, but it's another more holistic viewpoint where we can support people before they get to those extreme burnouts. And it's a wonderful way, obviously, to hold on to people and retain people. There is a war of talent going on right now in the marketplace. Yeah. And people they've got choices. They've got more choices now than they ever have done. And it is an employer's market. It's a smorgasbord right out, there right now. So it's a wonderful opportunity for organizations to really care for their people. And I know you and I are in a very, similar space. We champion people, and we're at the heart, we deeply care about our people, and people don't leave if they're cared for. It's that simple. Like they don't. But what's happening with COVID, the Kool-Aid, the water cooler has been removed. And I think there's been, significant fractures in organizations that were there before COVID that became seismic breaks in the culture. And what we're now seeing is the fallout of some of those, I think, fractures that were there before COVID.
So what I'm hearing is really you're the vitamin to prevent the illness as opposed to the painkiller when somebody becomes ill.
I love that analogy. I'm totally going to take that. But yes, it's a wonderful analogy. We are the nourishment pack to keep your players on the front line strong, fit, focused, and really love what they do each day, and to be a part of something each day. And that nourishment comes at cost if organizations don't supply that. And it's interesting, when I do love data, Australian Bureau of Stats put out some research a few months ago that coaching now is the number 3 item on values that employers are now looking for. Number 3. So it's being of purpose, having impact, and having access to professional development coaching. Whereas 3 years ago, it was on pay packet, it was on talking about issues with the boss, and it was about career progression.
Yeah. Huge change. I mean, that's a 180 when you're looking at purpose being your number one driver of for why an employee is going to stay or be, want to work for you. And I know coaching isn't just about working with the top execs. It's all the way through the business. We always talk about at triiyo, life happens at work. So you can be the most amazing employee, incredibly brilliant leader, but life happens and we can't control that. So when we can't always control that, let's say, so when that happens, that, we are often thrown off path, thrown off our course. And what I'm hearing is coaching adds a huge amount of value to help people sort of bridge that gap between work and life, hold things together, be supported by somebody independent that's not within the organization, but keep them sort of performing and productive whilst also helping them with these challenges that are going on externally. What sort of, what are examples of coaching? I know you don't just do executive coaching. So how else are you helping your people?
We're in a part of the Hello Coach philosophy is, to your point, Beck, you summed it up really well. We don't just focus on the top tier, which is the executive coaching and C-suite coaching. We focus on admin level. We focus on mid-tier. We focus on team leads. We focus on general managers. Is very much the bottom to top. Stress, uncertainty, anxieties. It doesn't matter what pay grade you're on. It doesn't matter what title you have on your business card. And if you are responsible for a team and you are also supporting someone of a higher level, then you become one of the critical frontliners. And we focus now in over 300 niche areas at Hello Coach, which is extraordinary. And I know as we continue to grow, that is just going to just keep building and building our focus areas. One of the reasons that we do offer so many niche areas is because there are so many niche areas now that is causing stress in people's lives. We're not just dealing with 1 or 2 topics anymore. We're dealing with family issues. We're dealing with mindset crisis. We're dealing with depression and anxiety. We're dealing with workplace conflict. We're dealing with well-being issues, relationship issues, like you name it. And our coaches are so finely tuned in and skilled in those niche areas. And we're not a cookie cutter. You know, everyone is different. Every human being is different, and every human being warrants having the right person in their corner. And I'm disrupting the industry, Beck. I'm disrupting how coaching has been delivered for decades because it needs an overhaul. I don't believe that the one coach for many model works anymore. I don't believe it drives value. We have seen that with our model, when you work with a coach that's just specialized in that area and you have a few sessions with that coach, then you move on and you match with another coach that's specialized in that area for what your particular needs are. And that is the quickest way to get you back out on the front line. It's not having long, meandering conversations with the same coach that, yeah, sure, they might have a few hours expertise, but they're not experts. And this is about continually driving quality in the marketplace. And we obviously, you know, do that by the variety of areas that we support. You know, you mentioned a couple there prior. The list is long, and human beings to have that whole holistic support is critically important. And I probably refer to my 20 odd years as a coach. 80% of my time as a coach, and this is coaching the C-suite level, 80% of my time was focused on supporting them through a variety of strategies and solutions in their personal lives that was having deep impact on their professional lives. And where the stats just are still the same post-COVID, except what we're now dealing with is now, I do believe this is going to be the next epidemic, and it's a state of loneliness and a state of disconnection. And it's not going away anywhere. We have become a closed-off society, and we have become more insular than ever. Even on our devices, we think that we're connecting, but we're really not.
Yeah.
We've lost that ability to talk, to connect, to spend time with. And technology is amazing, Beck. You and I are both in the tech space. And even I put my hand up. There also needs to be a shut-off point where you just completely device detox and, you know, bring all, I know we're segueing into a whole other different conversations. However, coming back to the holistic support, this is where we're very passionate, and it's supporting the human being on every possible front that we can. It's not just on the executive coaching level. We do that. And, you know, there are some amazing coaches that do that, but it's also not forgetting that human being that is that executive, that is that CEO, they have lives, they have challenges, they have stress. And it's helping navigate through that, and helping by having bite-sized conversations, whether that's once a week, once a fortnight, whatever that is. It's giving them tools to feel confident and to feel more empowered, to really love who they are and love what they're doing again. And for me, where I sit, that's the pricelessness of what we do as a company. It's a very special space.
What comes through here, we talk a lot about human connection, like the value of human connection. We want to put human connection back in the workplace. And, you know, the conversations I'm having with HR is really about beginning to see humans as human beings that have an innate intrinsic desire for human connection, which we are losing in this hybrid, very remote workforce, you know, future of work environment that we are in, which has many, many benefits, but also many flaws, as opposed to seeing people as human capital or human resources. You know, we are humans. And to your point, we have lives that impact our work. And because we are now heavily working from home, that link between work and life is completely intrinsically mixed now. You know, we don't have the commute that helps to separate and, you know, for people to switch off before they come home. And it sounds like the work that you're doing with people at every level within the organization that would have a really positive impact, not just for the individual within the workplace, but actually because it's their home life that is often impacting their work, the benefit then ripples out back into the home.
Correct, it does. But you've raised some really great points. I mean, the whole thing post-COVID is that we've lost the boundaries between work and life, and again, there's been some amazing upsides when you work from home, greater flexibility, and some ways it's productive. It just depends on how you define that productiveness, because even when I'm in the city with my team, I find that it's amazing. We use that as strategy time, and we all get together around a whiteboard. And, I know that there's lots of digital whiteboards now that you can use. However, it's sitting in the same room and having the conversations and having that touch point. But, it's supporting people to help them have better boundaries, yes. But we are in a situation now where if there was work stress, some people would leave that at work and they would have the ability to, walk back home, catch a train. And by the time they walked in the door, they'd have decompressed. But what's happening now, particularly still off the back of COVID, we've gone to this very closed living situation. And it's supporting now not only the employee, but to your point, it's the ripple impact of if they're being upskilled in, coaching skills and what other, strategies that they're wanting to work on, the family and those people around them get the benefit of that. And we often have many conversations, our coaches do, with our clients on family dynamics and relationships, because they've changed. And your foundation with your family, your foundation as, with your home, that's the epicenter. And if that's not right, and if that's not solid, you're not going to be able to put your best foot forward at work. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. So it's about supporting the foundations of that person in an area where they're feeling a little bit wobbly. Or it can go back on the other foot. It can go back to they want to progress up their career and they don't know how to have the right conversations. So we do lots of role play in our sessions with our coaches. There is a purpose for coaches across so many different areas. Hence, obviously, we focus on so many different focus areas. There is.
And I think that's super important, because if you're going through something that is not sort of a general career or, career progression challenge, such as maybe cancer or a divorce, I would love to work with somebody who has had lived experience in that area and can, deeply understand the challenges that you're going through. So, I think there's huge benefits. If we can just look at what you're seeing, in terms of HR challenges at the moment, huge change in the last few years. What are the biggest HR challenges that your HR leaders are talking to you about? And how is coaching impacting that?
Retention. They're concerned. They want to hold on to good people. Coaching was always a nice to have across organizations, whereas it's now, how soon can you come in and help? We, apart from our one-to-one coaching, we do a lot of team coaching. So we work in cohorts. That's another way that organizations can touch point across many more people. Mm-hmm. Wellbeing is still number one on our platform. It is the most sought after area. And obviously we've, got a lot of coaches that sit in that space. And when I say wellbeing, yes, it's a very large bucket. But, there is stress, there is sleep, there is, anxiety, all of those things that come under it, work-life balance. But employers are seeing the need to help their people rejoin the company, rejoin, come back together, rejoin and recreate a culture that hasn't been there, in person for the last couple of years. It's almost to help them back. I'm thinking of a couple of businesses that we support, and they experienced deep stress in that COVID phase. And, a few people quite a few people left. They experienced colleagues that took their lives. This is still very real. And it happens across all organizations.
Yeah.
And employers are now seeing that they're not equipped to be able to provide that nourishment, to your point, and they can't afford not to anymore. So we're going in at a really amazing time when the need is great. And of course, I mean, with the work that you do, it's the time is right now, and employers can no longer put their hand under a rug and think that nothing's going on, because it is, and people are leaving. The resignation, the big exit, it's real. I had a survey from one of the big fours that I had a conversation with a few weeks ago, and 70% of their people were unsure that they wanted to stay in that organization. 70%. Wow. That data is real.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There is a war for talent right now. And if you love your people, look after them. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't, but again, your people are your biggest assets. And HR are now seeing that. And I had a conversation with another business yesterday, and she's put a team of her executives through. And it is just, she's wanting to create a fresh culture and a fresh alignment with all her senior managers. And we help facilitate those conversations, and to be a part of a rebirthing almost of helping an organization be their very best by helping their people be their very best. That is why we do what we do. And that is what we love to do.
Yeah. Everyone is focused on cost, and, it's more actually, it's not the cost of doing, it's really the cost of not doing. What is the lost cost by not putting something like this in place and looking after your people? Because 70% is a hugely high number.
Oh, we did the quick math with this particular organization. It was going to cost them something like, $50 million to replace more, just to rehire and retrain, a large part of that cohort. And it doesn't have to be that way. And again, I come back to what we initially started off the conversation with. People stay if they know that they're cared for, and they know that they have access to development, both personal and professional. And it's our job as providers, and I put triiyo in that case, it's our job to make their lives easier. It's our job to help provide a seamless offering that helps them support their people in a really easy way, in an effortless way, because the cost is real. And now more organizations are looking at that because people are leaving. And I will always champion people, always go front line with them as you are. And we don't need to lose good people.
There's so much going on in people's lives. I think the expectation that a manager has the tools, resources and experience or training to help their team through these multitude of life challenges is completely unrealistic. That manager needs support to be able to manage all of these different challenges that their individual team members have. So coaching is such a valuable tool for everyone to have access to. Otherwise, if we look at the changes in legislation around psychosocial risks, by not putting tools and resources in place to support your people to be able to either manage others or manage themselves, then we're not actually, meeting that positive duty of care as an organization.
It's very good words, and I agree with that. And there, again, COVID highlighted many things across organizations, and that is that, managers that are responsible for a team, they do extraordinary work. However, don't try and be all to everyone, because that's not where your skill set is. When you are off, guiding or helping someone on your team, your eye is off the business.
Mm.
And I know people make up the team, make up the business. I understand that. However, if you've got the right people in the corner, that the right experts, to then it's, coaching I see as a wonderful offering where that support's there. It's very easily accessible, and reach out, bring in that, that right coach and that right person. But it allows that manager to then go back to do what they need to do for their job and to deliver on their front. And yeah, I think our managers, in terms of what they've gone through over the last couple of years and managing the teams, I think a lot deserve a medal. Like, they have come through, they've, navigated a very difficult time. However, there is other ways out there where you can certainly access qualified coaching and qualified expert advice that will get the job done, obviously in a far more effective way, and it gives you peace of mind for those managers, that then just allows them to go and do what they need to do, in their own role.
And looking back at the coaching being the number 3 that employees look for, so many companies are cutting heads, and or there is not enough talent to fill the roles that are available. That means your existing workforce are already doing more than one job. They're covering multiple roles, which is why we have such a high rate of burnout, and increasing mental health problems. So, and often managers or people are being pushed upwards into management positions because those roles aren't being filled externally. So people are often being pushed into management roles potentially before they're ready or before they have the experience or the skill set to do that. So when that's happening, organizations really need to find ways to acknowledge that maybe this role is a bit bigger than what you're used to, or the level you are, or that we acknowledge that you're doing 2 or 3 people's roles in one within the same hours, or you're working extended hours. To have that, a facility that helps people to learn or upskill quickly, to have solutions to help them manage the challenges that they've got, whether it's multiple roles, or personal challenge that are impacting their roles. You can really still see the ROI on putting coaching in place because of the current challenges within the workplace that got, not just, they're all people related, but their talent, very much, a shortage of talent, a lack of focus on employee well-being, or a focus, but because of the shortage of talent, it's it's impacting. It's this vicious circle, and somehow organizations need to rapidly implement solutions to stop the rapid downward spiral.
I agree. Well summarized. Yes, I don't know that there's much more I can add on that, except yes, I agree with all of the above.
Just listening to you, it's like, it's kind of a mute point that we have to look after our people, because without, and human capital is an organization's biggest asset, but they are also your biggest cost. But that cost of attrition is magnified versus the cost of retaining and looking after.
I agree. That's one of the, in terms of how we work with businesses, this is one of the reasons that we've created a very flexible, fluid commercial model that allows sessions to be deployed across an organization very effectively and easily. And because life is fluid, businesses are fluid, and we don't lock anyone into crazy long-term contracts, because that's not life. And I've wanted to keep coming back to driving quality and affordability, and to work with the here and the now to support businesses, not try and make it more difficult for businesses to say yes to coaching. And yes, to your point, it is a moot point. And it's a timing thing, Beck, for many organizations. Coaching has been around for a long time, but it's only now that ears are, pricking up to go, oh gosh, we need to take a closer look at this. And so again, look, coaching is a wonderful support. It's proven to obviously drive results, far more effective than counseling when it comes to people's just performance and skills. Most people really just need solutions. They don't need, in some cases, psychotherapy as such. I'm generalizing. Most people just need some day-to-day strategies and solutions to feel more empowered in a situation. And that's what coaching does. A right coach helps unpack that stress point, helps unpack that. And, we provide data, we provide monthly reports to all of our businesses. We can show the categories that their employers are booking our coaches. We're very visible with that content, not obviously coaching sessions, but what's trending across an organization. One of our businesses, I had a catch up with her yesterday, and 70% of her employees were choosing to work in the wellbeing space with our coaches, not business.
Yeah. And how valuable are those insights, right, to organizations? Data is king, but to know what's happening on your front line is hugely valuable. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Thanks, Beck. Great to catch up with you again.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. To find out more about how triiyo can support your people, visit triiyo.com.